models for me all the time, came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm having a wedding. Do you want to be my photographer? It's in a year." And I went, "Okay." And then within a year, I built an entire business just for practice, like just doing weddings to try to get to the point where I could do her wedding confidently. And then by the time I hit her wedding, I was like making thousands of dollars, and I was just like, whatever, I got this.
Wow.
Yeah, and her pictures, I was really proud of them, and she actually has so many pictures now that she's still going through them, and it's been a long time after her wedding. But then after that, like, I don't like to say that I started my business. I think it was mostly Bridget and my mom, because I'm not a business person. I'm not someone who calls people, and I hate email. And if someone messages me, I'll look at the message and then put it down, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, okay."
I'll get back to them later.
Yeah, and then I forget. Yeah, and so Bridget will like check my email, and she'll be like, "Hey Megan, this person emailed you." I'm like, "Oh yeah," and then she'll just email them. She like organizes.
Not always, of course. Mostly she handles her own stuff. She's not giving herself enough
I'm a
credit.
huge baby though. It's true. I'm a big baby. So.
Which of you are older?
I'm the
She's
oldest.
older. Yeah, she's 5 years older than I am.
Yeah. So.
And how long ago did you start your businesses?
5 years ago.
Yeah, I've been in business for myself for about a year. I've been doing wedding photography for like between 4 and 5 years. But like I've been, just working for myself. I'm like about a year and a half in now.
Right.
So.
I started. I had a company with my ex-fiance called King and Queen Photography, and we were doing really well, and then we broke up and the company dissolved. And for about a year, I was picking up weddings, just kind of catching up all the weddings that he had dropped. And then I kind of like had to regain my confidence. It was this really weird feeling where like once you're engaged and then you're photographing weddings, it's this huge emotional tie. And I realized I had to learn how to be happy for other people, which is, you don't normally think about it, but when you're a wedding photographer, you go in and you're like, okay, this is a job, and I'm just going to take pictures of a bunch of people. But there's this like huge emotional tie you have to every single one of your brides or grooms. And like after going through that huge breakup, I worked really hard to learn how to be happy for other people. Because once you learn that, you have like everything. You have everything at your fingertips, And then I started Sonder Media Arts, which has been in business for about a year now. And that's been going super well. And so, yeah, there's my answer to that.
What's Sonder Media Arts?
Sonder Media Arts is a wedding photography company. And we do videography, photography, we do pictures of babies, we do family photos, we do everything. And it's just a group of photographers, and we all work together.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How does your photographic vision vary between the two of you, and like even different from your mother? Like if you went to the same wedding,
you would not get any of the same pictures. Like,
Yeah,
not even
we're
close.
very, very different. Well, I'll start with our mom. She had this, when she was doing more fine arts work, she had this very interesting, gritty kind of style. She kind of, there's this one piece that she has, and she photographed a family member in a suit, and it's developed with film. She was a film photographer, and it was.
Did you grow up around a dark room?
Yes, we had it in our bathroom.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was in the bathroom.
Well, it wasn't.
I
in the
remember going to
bathroom.
the bathroom with like the red light on, and like
No,
it
no.
was dark.
we lived in Forest Falls, which is in California, and this was like, gosh, we moved from there when I was like 5, and we had, it was like the kitchen, and then the dark room, and then the bathroom. So you had to walk through the dark room to get to the bathroom.
Dark. I would go to my friend's house to go to the bathroom because I was afraid of the dark at the time, and it was just, it was not great.
Probably why I'm still afraid of the dark.
Yeah, because the dark room is creepy.
Yeah.
I love my dark room.
No,
But anyways.
So
yeah.
your photographic vision, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I got completely off track. But with her style's very natural, and she doesn't use a lot of strange color or anything. For me, I like to do a mixture of, you know, naturalistic, because I think there's something very beautiful about, you know, trying to get as close to that real life vision as possible. But I also do a ton of black and whites. And I like to use a little bit of like vibrant color. So it's kind of like, you know, looking through the world like through a filter. Yeah, but I definitely think that my style's a little bit more naturalistic than your style is.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because when she shot the man that was on in the suit, I was learning how to skateboard that very day in the park, and I got him to skateboard in his suit on my new skateboard, and I got a picture of it. So I have that picture. But I think that describes the difference between your guys' work and my work. Is that I do like really weird things. Like I'll put brides on cliffs, and I'll lay people down and like climb a tree to get a picture. I'm completely relentless and absolutely crazy when it comes to pictures. There have been times where we've created harnesses out of like mattresses, paracord, and like
you created a harness.
And nobody wanted to get on it. I was like, just put me on it. Just take the picture.
So you like to create your environment.
Yeah, I really, when it comes to, there are makers and takers when it comes to art, and I'm definitely a maker. And so when it comes to weddings, every single thing in my frame is something that I've been designed to put there. Even if it's somebody walking down the aisle, I have moved people out of that way to get that aisle in the exact.
That aisle beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like I see Bridget's pictures and I always love them because they've got this like light, airy quality about them. And I see my pictures and they always have this like really rushed, like wind blown. Obviously, I've seen a lot of fashion magazines look, and I think that's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that raises a good point that I didn't even think about, is that you know, you like you said, like you do a lot of creation. With me, I kind of have this thing that like people are so beautiful, you know, and like every person is different and has their own, you know, flavor and perspective and, you know, personal life situation. And especially like when I take portraits or I'm allowed to take, you know, a couple shots during the wedding, I like to draw out that personality. Because I think that it makes a picture so much more interesting than a person just smiling. You know, is having that extra something that's private, that's part of them, that makes them vulnerable. Me being able to take a picture of that is far more valuable to me.
Yeah, and I like Richard Avedon, where like, and I think like a lot of his work would signify that, like bringing a personality out of someone and, you know, really capturing that on film. But I think because I've been so trained, sometimes it's hard to get out of that, the mindset that everything is being made for me. I'm making it. And so I do all these crazy things to get that one moment that Bridget just captures naturally. I like force it out of people.
Yeah. But you get it though, and it doesn't look forced.
Yeah, but it's like a million takes.
So, you are both working on a magazine, which is the reason that I'm here today. What inspired you to create a magazine?
Okay, so this is actually a funny story. So back in high school, I had an online e-zine called Punch Mass Productions, and we were focused on getting teenagers more political. And I would write these, like, it was a huge political blog. I'd write things all the time. And then I wrote a bunch because that was my whole life. I wanted to be a writer. And then I stopped doing that. And mostly because I figured out boys. And when I got back into doing art, I kept thinking, God, I want to do something that brings all art forms together and really connects them. And I had the idea for a while. And then about a month ago, I turned to Bridget and I said, we're going to make a magazine. And I came home that day.
No, we were in a sushi restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
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 We came up with this idea.
Yeah, I was like, Bridget, let's make a magazine. And she was like, yes. I was like, we're going to do it. And then within like that day, we had the name, we had the list of people that we were going to contact, We had exactly what we were going to write about. We had the first 6 months ready. Like, it was like we had gotten it ready our whole lives.
Within a week about, every day we would decide something new. It's kind of funny because I feel like this is true of all artists, that once you decide to be an artist or to even just do something really big with your life, you immediately have all these demons, you know, about what's, like, are people going to think it's stupid? Are we going to get, I don't know, blacklisted? You just have all these kind of ridiculous fears, and that's definitely happened with this magazine. So that's why I'm so glad that we have just gotten this far, you know, and it's still so new, but I feel like the work that we put in the last, you know, couple of weeks is really going to, you know, we're laying a foundation, you know, for this magazine. And I definitely, for me personally, I wanted to talk about things that were real. I wanted to talk about, you know, controversial issues that, you know, which, you know, like, issues are, we don't hide things as much now, you know. That's what's great about social media, is that, you know, we're talking about objectification and, you know, race and, you know, all these topics that, you know, for the longest time people haven't wanted to talk about. But I still feel like there's this, you know, gap between the actual issue and
being politically correct.
Well, and the human side of it, you know, the idea of, well, there's someone living this, you know, this isn't, you know, just like, this isn't people being ridiculous, you know, there's a reason.
It's not a movie.
Yeah, there's a reason someone feels that way. There's someone who's living that reality. You just haven't met them yet, you know, and like, meeting someone and talking to them about, like, an issue is so much different than being able to say whatever you want on the internet. So that's kind of, that's one of the reasons that I am so personally invested now, is that, like, that's the kind of perspective I want to, you know, take and, you know, implement into the magazine.
It's funny, I was at the Hollywood Business Casino night, because I was helping out and then I was taking pictures. And the guy who is in charge of their newspaper, like, I met him and we were talking and I said, oh, I'm starting a magazine. And he goes, oh, print is dying. And I went, because nobody talks anymore. Everyone's afraid to talk about real issues. And we've even had this where I'm totally zany and, like, I'll go, let's talk about something, like, really screwed up. You know, let's go super dark. And we're just like, whoa.
Yeah, right.
We're just like,
My gut reaction,
yeah.
You know, it's that's been ingrained into me, is that suddenly I'm like, oh, I don't know if we're going to talk about that. I don't want to upset people. But, you know, I feel like if you come at an issue from a place of respect, you know,
and compassion,
then I feel like if people are upset, then you can't go wrong, you know, because we're representing things the way that we want people to see them.
Sometimes talking about something is incredibly uncomfortable, but once you get it out there and once you hear all sides of the story, it can really, like, open up your eyes. We were talking about our issue for July is the American, and I went, Bridget, we have to talk about race. We just have to talk about it. And Bridget was like, how are we going to do it? And I went, I don't know. We're going to interview a bunch of people. We're going to talk about race. We're going to talk about wage gaps. We're going to talk about, you know, all these things. We're going to talk about the history of America. We have to talk about the concentration camps that were in, you know, near San Diego or near San Francisco?
In California.
But it was like,
the Japanese internment camps.
Yeah. And then I think what works for us in terms of the magazine is that we have that push and pull where I really want to go there in a way that's outlandish, and Bridget really wants to make sure that we're doing things the right way. And yeah,
because we want to start a dialogue, you know, and even if we don't make as big of an impact, if we have started a dialogue, you know, if we're just, you know, a cog in the machine, just, you know, getting the ball rolling and, you know, making an issue, you know, more candid, more talked about, then, you know, we've done what we set out to do.
I know it. How long ago did this idea idea for a magazine arise?
A really long time. When our mother started a magazine when we were young. I think it was called Equinox